It can get lonely climbing Mount McKinley, so to entertain myself, I go to ChumbaCasino.com. At Chumba Casino, I can play hundreds of online casino-style games for free, like online slots, bingo, Slingo, and more. Plus, I get a daily login bonus. It's just too bad that up here, I don't have anyone to share my excitement with. Woohoo!
Live the Chumba life. Anytime, anywhere. Play for free now at ChumbaCasino.com. VGW Group. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.
You wake up, put on your Ray-Ban Meta glasses. You're living all in. You realize you need coffee. So you say,
"Hey, Meta, how do I make a latte?"
Brew 2 shots of espresso.
After Meta AI gets you caffeinated, you're ready for some beats.
Hey, Meta, play hip-hop music.
You head to meet some friends, but can't remember the place.
Hey, Meta, call Eva.
Ray-Ban Meta glasses, the next generation of AI glasses. Just say, "Hey, Meta," to harness the power of Meta AI. Shop now at meta.com/smartglasses.
It's the Kia Season of New Traditions sales event. So don't just hang your own lights. Venture out and look for the northern lights. Drink cocoa on the beach. Or be a drive-by karaoke caroler. Because every Kia comes with a 10-year, 100,000-mile limited powertrain warranty, so you can take holidays to places they've never been. See your local Kia dealer or visit kia.com to learn more. Kia, movement that inspires.
See Kia dealer for warranty details. Event ends 1/2/25.
Fun for the entire family. Make your way down to the XL Energy Center to catch your Minnesota Wild in action. Tickets are still available for upcoming games. Secure yours today at wild.com/hockey tickets. That's wild.com/hockey tickets.
Let's get back to the football discussion here on Bumper to Bumper. Guardsy in for Dan today. I'm here until 6. Kevin Seifert about 30 minutes from now on the Connecticut Water Systems hotline. Now, though, Vikings Radio Network Pete Bercich, the analyst, is on the Connecticut Water Systems hotline, as I mentioned. Thanks for taking the time, Pete. Are you as excited about this particular border battle as I am, and I think the rest of the public is? You've coached in this game. You've played in this game. My sources say you've always got a little extra juice for this game as a broadcaster. We haven't had one of these, I don't think, ever with so much at stake. How excited are you for this one?
Yeah, very. I mean, and I think the most exciting part is you've got two really, really good football teams playing each other. They're both playing very well. I mean, you know, there's so much conversation about the Chiefs and about Detroit and about Philadelphia. You know, there's us and there's Green Bay, and you're talking about in the next 2 weeks playing two teams that I think have 23 or 24 combined wins, right? I mean, two really, really good football teams. And, you know, I think we've said it before, if the Vikings can win out, yeah, they'll get home field, but then, you know, at the same time, they deserve it, right? If you're playing a very tough part of your schedule, this is what the NFL wants. They want the divisional games late in the season because they matter for playoffs and such. But this one, you know, these are huge. So, but yeah, I think that's the most exciting part is you've got a Green Bay team who's playing very, very well. You know, they just beat Seattle. They had almost a scrimmage against New Orleans. At least that's what it felt like watching some of it. You know, the Vikings are coming off a big one in Seattle, and it's you know, JJ's getting hot again. It's going to be fun.
Let's talk about the Packers side of things. Their offense, as you mentioned, has been rolling here really since the bye week, week 10 or so. Their offense has been, you know, top 3 or 4 in pretty much every category. So as a former defensive guy, former defensive coach, you see it through that lens. What has allowed them to be so efficient and so explosive and really just so effective the last 6 weeks or so?
I think their method has been interesting. It's been good. You look at Josh Jacobs. So the amount that they use Josh Jacobs early is pretty amazing. The first drive that they had against Seattle, they had a 10-play, 65-yard touchdown drive, and 9 of the 10 plays went to Josh Jacobs. And the only reason why the 10th or 9th, there's not only 9 of them, is that the bootleg that Jordan Love kept and did make it in the end zone on the red zone, Emmanuel Wilson was in there. So he wasn't on the field to get him the football. So I've seen this out of them a few times, is just early on in the game, they absolutely, depend on Josh Jacobs. They want to pound the football. They want to run it. They want to do whatever they can, run schematically to get the double teams up front. So they get their big linemen, Josh Myers, Elton Jenkins, Sean Ryan, those guys, just to double team the big guys up front, move them, try to wear them out. And, through option or through some other reverse or some other look to freeze the outside guys and just let Jacobs do his thing. So, and then they evolve out of it and they put the ball more in Jordan Love's hands. So my point is you're going to have to withstand that first series or two with that's very, very heavy run, very, very heavy Josh Jacobs oriented, and not let them get points up on the board early. Make them kick field goals instead of touchdowns. That'll be a theme for the next 2 weeks. And you just get through those and put the ball. I think the best chance that we have of winning is to have Jordan Love be the architect for put the pressure on him to have a huge day. He's had some big days, no question about it. There's no question that he can do it. But if you go out there and let him run the ball up and down the field the first couple series with Jacobs and get up by a couple touchdowns, it's going to be a long day.
Well, to that end, how impactful then is the news that Ivan Pace Jr. was a full participant in practice today? Harrison Smith was too. He missed last week, but the defense, just the numbers back it up. With Cashman and then Pace, the difference between when they're in and out of the lineup is pretty staggering. So I guess my question to you is, what makes that so? How important, how has Ivan Pace become so important?
Yeah. Here's the thing is we saw it the 2 weeks or the 6 day stretch where we lost 2 football games against Detroit and then going out to Los Angeles to play the Rams. Is just how did they go about replacing Ivan Pace? And they did it in a number, Camus Grugier Hill got some snaps, but they would have Metellus on base downs playing linebacker. So my point is you kind of saw, you would actually see Andrew Van Ginkel off the football. Right. They were moving different guys at different spots to replace him. They didn't say, all right, Ivan, you're out. And then this guy is right on deck and he's going to come in and do your job. They kind of used a combo platter of people. I am on Bumper to Bumper, so I can use that phrase. So a combo platter of people.
There you go.
To replace him. And so my point is getting him back. Yes, that's going to help the run a ton because that's what he does well. He plays the run. He plays the run very, very well. But it also allows guys like Metellus and Van Ginkel and the rest of them to play where they normally do. They're back in position, so to speak. So, yeah, I don't want to oversell it and say, with Ivan Pace back, we're going to be fine. We should be much improved. Let's put it that way. And not just against the run, but Ivan's also a very good blitzer.
Right.
And we know one of the things that Flores loves to do is set the line up so the center turns one way and the linebackers are blitzing in the other. And you got to, your running backs have to be very good in pass protection. If they are not, then we're going to wear that out. We saw that actually down in Jacksonville. But our linebackers were just murdering them in pass rush, so we just kept doing it. No point. Don't change it if it isn't broke. So it's going to be probing the weaknesses of the offense. And my point is if they can just run the football, then they're not going to have to worry about those things. So we got to put them in that spot.
Pete Bercich, Vikings Radio Network analyst here on the Fan, guards in for Barreiro. Kevin Seifert about 20 minutes from now. What have you seen from Dallas Turner the last few weeks?
Yeah, his athleticism. His athleticism is you can be seen from the booth just how fast he is when he makes a decision to go. I think for his future, he's got to put some weight on and get a little, be more physical on the outside. Speed is his weapon, but the physicality is going to be necessary as well. And just learning the technique of being out there on the edge of a defense and how do you play, when they're running a power your way as opposed to a zone, and I think that's where Van Ginkel and Grenard are so good, is they know exactly how to play those blocks. And it's as simple as, you want to get upfield and force contain, but if you just run upfield, then you're opening up a huge alley for the running back. So you'll see Van Ginkel, if he works himself too far upfield, he'll stop at the right exact moment and then work his way back underneath and get in on the tackle. And that takes time, right? And so for Turner, the recognition of what's going on in front of him from a blocking standpoint and exactly what technique and what to do, it's starting to turn on, right? It's starting to show up. And for him to make the interception is huge because the more he can cover, the more versatile he's going to be. And so hopefully we'll see more and more and more of them out there on the field.
How different is your opinion of Sam Darnold today than it was before the New York Giant game, for example, the season opener? I guess what I'm asking is how much have you seen from him through this run?
Well, I think here's the thing is we've seen throughout the course of let's say early in the season, we've seen him make some of these throws, right? You see him make from one hash mark all the way across the field on a timing route, on an out route, the arm strength, the accuracy, so we've seen it along the way, and then along the way, mistakes. Well, fast forward to the last couple of weeks, we've seen him make those throws exactly when they needed to be made. So the clutch part of it, right? Can he do it under pressure? Can he do it in a national TV audience? Can he do it at night? Can he do it against a top scoring defense? All those questions that you have for any quarterback that hasn't won a Super Bowl yet. And he's starting to answer some of those where he is clutch. And I think the other side of what's happening is our defense has produced an unbelievable number of turnovers. I think we're at 22 or 23 interceptions. I'm working on my card right now, so I don't have all the numbers in front of me. But we were still +8, hovering +6, +7, somewhere in there. It's because we were turning the ball over a lot, fumbles, whether they're on exchanges or being sacked or interceptions. Well, all of a sudden we've really done a nicer job taking care of the football. And that's a lot with Darnold. When there's a play to be made, he's stepping up and making the play. We saw it against Atlanta. We saw it against Seattle. Late in the game, he's stepping up and making a play. When it's not there, though, he's either getting rid of it or he's securing the football when he's in trouble because he's getting sacked. Now he's getting sacked 3 times a game, right? Ideally, and I think that's a big part of the key for Sunday is how much pressure can Green Bay get with a 4-man rush? Because if you give Darnold time and with our receivers, he's going to be successful. It's going to be up and down the field for us. It can be. It could very well be that way. But he's doing a better job taking care of the football. And so the plus number, I think we're in double digits now in the take give, or 10 or 11 or somewhere in there. I mean, it's amazing how the defense has just continued week in and week out. Maybe they've had a turnover, I think, every single week. And the 1 week maybe we didn't get it on defense, we got it on special teams. So we've been forcing turnovers the whole year. I've never seen anything like it.
Yeah, and you wonder, you always say, is it sustainable? But they find a way. And some of them are just you're finishing the game, right? You don't have one until the last play, right? Essentially the other day against Seattle, which count.
Yeah, exactly. And you're right, in Guardian, if we were winning by 1 score, but these games that were winning by 1 score, we had 3 turnovers, then you're sitting there going, okay, if these turnovers dry up and we don't get those 3 added possessions, we could have a problem. But, I don't think it's necessarily the case. I think we can hang. We've turned the ball over 3 times. I mean, look at Jacksonville. How many times we turned the football over and we still were able to win? So that's what's unique about this season.
You mentioned Josh Jacobs earlier. We're talking with Pete Bercich on the Fan here, Guardian for Barreiro, and how important he's been to what the Packers want to do. They obviously made a decision to move on from Aaron Jones. Aaron came here, and he's been great, right? A couple of fumbles from time to time. We all know about that. Missed a little bit of time with injury. We all know about that. But how necessary has the Aaron Jones addition been, and how necessary will he be on Sunday for this one as well?
I think his addition has been huge, and I think that we've between Aaron Jones and the year with Dalvin Cook, we see that this offense needs a running back that can make things happen on their own, right? We need a guy that could be explosive, not just move the chains. Now, Aaron Jones, the main thing for him coming in here in a spot that's been a problem in years past has been short yardage, right? 3rd and 1. We look at Cincinnati last year. We lost that game because we missed a 3rd and 1, then went around in 4th and 1 and still didn't do it. So Darnold's helped too with the quarterback sneak because he's a bigger guy. But then deep in the red zone, running the football in the red zone. Hard to throw the football in there because you've got everybody in the box. The safeties are going to be, 8 yards off the ball at the deepest. And he's been able to, we did it in the Giants game, able to just bounce things outside, and Nick McLeod, who had the perfect angle, but he still made something happen. That's what this offense needs. So whether it's Aaron Jones or whomever, this offense, I think, needs a dynamic type of a running back like that can make a big play every once in a while when teams don't respect the run enough and they want to focus on our receivers, Addison and JJ or anyone. You can make him do that. So he's been a huge asset. And he's been scoring more touchdowns in the second half of football games as of late. And that's a good trend. That's a very positive trend that we love to see continue because you're going to need it in the playoffs.
Can you take us inside the building as a guy who's played in this rivalry, coached in this rivalry, now broadcasts in this rivalry? Is it every fan wants to believe there's a different buzz around it? Like everybody wants to think, because that's how our offices all are, right? I mean, I'm around Blakemore and Sinekin right now. They've all got their Packers stuff on, like anybody here, anybody working this week has a Packer fan in their office. Like we all want to assume that you guys are all just locked in and dialed in and nothing is more important than Vikings Packers. Don't ruin that for us on this holiday week, but do the guys feel it? Do they feel, with obviously so much at stake, as we talked about on the top?
Yeah, I mean, when I played and coached, we had our own reasons for disliking Green Bay. Not just that they were just our rivals, but you found ways to dislike them. Yep. Most main thing was you're going against Brett Favre, probably one of the best quarterbacks in the league, and Tony Dungy would always say he's going to throw us 3 balls that we can intercept. If we pick all 3 of them off, we'll win. If we don't, then we're not. Tony had that magical way of simplifying things. Now, what's annoying is you're in Minnesota and you see all the Packer fans, right? I mean, when you go to Green Bay and you see, or anywhere on the road, you see the Vikings fans, you're like, sweet, I love them. It's brave of them to wear the opposite colors. I don't recommend it in Philly, but to wear the opposite colors when you go somewhere. But even when we're playing, I don't know, Arizona at home, or Jackson or Atlanta, when we're doing our little TV thing in the end zone, you always see that one guy, right? That one guy walking by with all his Green Bay stuff on. Yeah. And you're like, yeah, you probably wore that to work every single day this week. And you live, the guy lives here. Yep. Right? He lives in town. And I don't have a problem with Packer fans at all. If you live in Wisconsin, then yeah, you should absolutely be a Green Bay fan. I love it. That's a great part of the rivalry. It's a great rivalry. It's a very friendly rivalry, and I love it. This is just all for fun. Yep. But for you to have to go to work and look at Sinekin all day and listen to him and they all talk like they're owners, right?
Yeah, well,
we made this decision. Yeah. It's like, what do you got, a mouse in your pocket? It's not we. Right? It's not we. Mm-hmm. You've only been lucky and had the best quarterback in the league for the last 30 some odd years. I mean, okay, it's time for you guys to suffer.
I know, but I worry.
Let's go back to 1990, 1980, the late 80s. Let's just let them, Anyway, that's my view. And still, I love it. It's a great rivalry. It's a great rivalry.
It is good. Yeah, the older Packer fans always talk about the 70s and the 80s. I'm like, well, that doesn't help me. I'm 42. From the second I knew that they were good, that what football was, I was watching Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers, and now Jordan Love coming to Minneapolis. Just like the Super Bowls don't. Right. I know all Vikings fans hold on to the Bud Grant years. Well, some good that does me. They haven't been to a Super Bowl in my lifetime. I just talked to Sauce about this on Monday. That's great. I love watching the videos, and Met Stadium seemed cool, and it's great when the Rams rolled through, but that's not helping me. I'm 42 years old. The time's running out here.
Yeah. Right. Well, look on the bright side. You didn't sit in front of your TV for 4 years and see them lose.
That's true, which I would have.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I was.
I've been to, in one way or another, I've been to 5 NFC championship games. I haven't won one yet.
I know.
You know what I mean?
I do.
So it's like it's gotta give at some point, and it will. I mean, I think that's the bigger picture, the ownership, the coaches. I mean, I think the Vikings are in great hands, so we'll get there at some point.
Let's hope so, man. Thanks for taking time today. Have a blast on Sunday. I know you always do. I love re-listening to the game.
It's gonna be great.
I'm actually driving on Sunday, so you guys will be taking me through the whole way. I usually just pick up on you guys doing Vikings talking points, which is always fun to hear how you guys are examining things and things that go wrong. But have a great broadcast. Have fun. And best of luck to the Vikes on Sunday.
Well, thank you very much. It's gonna be a great one.
That is Pete Bercich on the Connecticut Water Systems Hotline. You can listen to him starting at 1:00 when the Vikings and Packers play for a lot. The Vikings playing for a number 1 seed, the Packers playing for a number 5, and even to catch the Vikings, which is possible for them. We'll take a break, have a quick short segment, then Kevin Seifert will continue the Vikings discussion about 10-15 minutes.
Hey, it is Ryan Seacrest. There's something so thrilling about playing Chumba Casino. Maybe it's the simple reminder that with a little luck, anything is possible. ChumbaCasino.com has hundreds of social casino-style games to choose from with new game releases each week. Play for free anytime, anywhere for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. Join me in the fun. Sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com. Sponsored by Chumba Casino. No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
Don't miss out on the Power Trip Morning Show when they take over the Treasure Island February 6th and 7th. Be there for tons of games, laughs, and great prizes, including Vegas trips to watch the big game. Book your stay using promo code KFAN for both the 6th and 7th to save 15%. Full details and to book your stay today, KFAN.com. Keyword calendar.
Quick segment here because we got the Vikings report coming up with Cam Bynum in just a minute, and Kevin Seifert joins after that. Christmas Day was yesterday. The fan has learned the Wolves played. They won, held on to what was a large lead, went down to 2, ended up winning the game. We talked to Chris Hine from the Star Tribune about that about half an hour ago. Good stuff from him. But here's things quickly, Brett, and how much of your day is taken up, used, or wasted by these things that did not exist on Christmas 25 years ago. This is from John Ehrlichman on Twitter. iPhone, Tesla, YouTube, Twitter, X, SpaceX, Gmail, Instagram, Bitcoin, Facebook, Skype, Amazon Prime, Google Maps, Netflix, Android, Netflix streaming. I think Netflix, the DVD rental, I think did exist. That's a throwback. Android, the App Store, WhatsApp, TikTok, Snapchat, Fitbit, Xbox, Pinterest, LinkedIn, iPad, Uber, Airbnb, Reddit, Spotify, and Zoom. First of all, I know that Reddit, you're a big Reddit guy. You're all over Reddit.
I don't know about that.
Every time I go into the score, you're on Reddit something. Reddit Power Trip, Reddit Soccer, Reddit Wild. You're on Reddit big time.
It's nice to get localized news of what you want to hear.
You wonder how much better off we would be. Like how many of I don't know how many things I just listed, but I'm thinking like the iPhone, that's been helpful. But the iPhone kind of encapsulates everything. Like all of these things are on your iPhone one way or the other, right? YouTube, X, Insta, Facebook, Skype, Amazon Prime, Google.
Does anyone Skype anymore?
I haven't gotten a lot of Skype requests. No, it's a lot of Zoom. No. It's a lot of StreamYard. It's a lot of other ways that you can stream and communicate with people. But how many of these things have actually made our life better? Maybe half? Like an improvement? Just don't know. I think we were better off 25 years ago. I can tell you disagree. We'll talk about it later. Booth@KFAN.com. You can email me. I probably won't read it because we don't open that much. Text line, Bradshaw and Brian KFAN text line is 64686. We'll get back to the Vikings discussion with Kevin Seifert when we come back. We'll get the Packer scouting report from the senior producer of Packer Preview. Brett Blakemore is going to join us at 5:15.
Time now for the Vikings Report on The Fan, presented by Miller Lite. Vikings safety Cam Bynum joins Barreiro next after this from Miller Lite.
Hello, it is Ryan, and I was on a flight the other day playing one of my favorite social spin slot games on ChumbaCasino.com. I looked over at the person sitting next to me, and you know what they were doing? they were also playing Chumba Casino. Everybody's loving having fun with it. Chumba Casino is home to hundreds of casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com to claim your free welcome bonus. That's ChumbaCasino.com and live the Chumba life.
Sponsored by Chumba Casino. No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
It's getting interesting in the game above Sports Bowl, formerly known as the Quick Lane Bowl. They just showed a montage of the Toledo kicker missing how many kicks, Brett? 9 kicks throughout the season?
About.
And a lot of Blair Walsh-like chip shots as well. One was wide left from about 27. But all the kid did was knock in a 51-yarder at Ford Field to tie it up at 30 for Toledo. It's Pittsburgh and Toledo knotted up at 30. Sorry, Seifert. I know you probably had the game DVR'd, and I just spoiled it for you. But thanks for joining us on the Connecticut Water Systems Hotline.
Thanks for having me. There's so many bowl games that if I did want to DVR all of them, I don't know if I would ever catch up just from like a math standpoint. There's not enough hours in the year.
It's true. Yeah, today's a big day, too, and a lot of bowl games I've worked at, including the Rape Bowl in Phoenix, which is coming up next. It might be delayed on television because of this formerly known as Quick Lane Bowl, but Rutgers and Kansas State about to kick it off. So I'm in a good spot here for the next hour and change. I know you love stories because you're a reporter. You like to follow the story, as we say. Here's how the story is going to unfold, Kevin, as we start our Vikings and Packers preview. The Vikings are going to beat the Packers on Sunday. You'll be there. Setting up the Northern Division collision Saturday or Sunday next week at Ford Field. They'll be leading at halftime 13-10, but Jared Goff will be knocked out of the game by a Flonami, and Teddy Bridgewater will emerge from the Ford Field tunnel and knock off the Vikings with a second-half comeback, having just, I guess, signed there today. Teddy Bridgewater is back, Seifert. That's the story, isn't it?
That's a fanciful story. It would be quite the turn of events. Teddy Bridgewater has spent the fall coaching high school football in Florida, and I think he won a state championship there, and then sort of surprised everybody by telling, I think, the NFL Network last week that there might be a return to the NFL coming. And so it sounds like he's been talking to the Lions for a while, and for exactly this reason, which I think is pretty smart. If you get, the Lions have big plans for their playoff run, and if you lose Jared Goff for some period of time, you probably want the guy who's played in however many starts and appearances that Teddy Bridgewater has over a guy who they're excited about, Hendon Hooker, as their backup quarterback, but not one that you necessarily would want to put onto the field in a playoff game if you could avoid it. So not a bad idea by the Lions. And if it were to come up in the Week 18 to get them the number one seed in the NFC, that would be all the more interesting for sure.
That'd be a story. Unfortunately for the Lions, he can't play defense, which is I think what they need a little bit more. But they've weathered the storm. They've figured it out. So a good aside. Yeah, we talked about it at the time that he mentioned it. He won the title and said, yeah, my team knows the deal. And he's basically, whatever happens with the Lions, he's going right back for spring practice at the high school. So it's kind of it's a Gordon Bombay Mighty Ducks like bit where he wins the title with the Ducks and then goes and tryouts for the minors again. Charlie Conway's mom was devastated to see him go, but they reconnected and everybody was no worse for the wear in Mighty Ducks too. So this whole thing could work out.
This sounds like the beginning of a Vikings defensive player celebration after an interception or a fumble skit.
The Flying V.
If they could do that, do a Mighty Ducks Minnesota type reference, that would be pretty awesome. But they're so backed up. They've gotten so many requests and they had so many ideas on their own. They need like a full-time administrative assistant, I think, to keep up with all of this.
It's basically Bynum's sister. He joins Dan, as you know, every week, and it's basically his sister's kind of the Wizard of Oz behind a lot of these. And so she's the one you got to get to if you have a celebration to put in the hopper.
Good to know.
Yeah, and I know you have a lot. All right. I'm excited about this game. Everybody's excited about this game. I don't remember, and you've covered all sides of this rivalry, this game having so much meaning. There's obviously been big ones in the past, but to have all the stuff that's on the line Sunday has been very rare. It's one of the reasons I assume why the NFL wanted to move divisional games to the end of the season like they did a few years back. It's been awesome. This one, no exception. So of all the different things that you've been looking at this week, all the stats, all the numbers, all the matchups, give me one or two that you think are most critical to who wins this game for a starting point of this discussion.
Well, the first thing I would say, actually, it's not only just the what's at stake, but it's just how good the teams are. I think this is the most combined wins that there's ever been for any NFC North or NFC Central game, period, dating back to the start of the NFL AFL merger in 1970. So this is kind of unprecedented, just in the sense of the quality of the teams that are matching up against each other. I think, I have a story coming tomorrow with Rob Domofsky, our Packers writer, and one of the things that I think the Vikings are probably working hard on is figuring out exactly how the Packers have put it into another gear, really after their game at Lambeau, where the Vikings got a huge lead and then held on to win the game. I think they're 9-2 since that point. And one of the things that I know has happened is Jordan Love got healthy and has become much more mobile in the pocket, not necessarily running for 80 yards a game or anything like that, but much more mobile in the pocket, much more in his comfort zone where he can get on the move and buy time and make kind of off schedule, off balance throws. And that's something that the Vikings did not have to deal with too much in that game at Lambeau, and he still threw for 4 touchdowns and 389 yards. And so I think that's a pretty good starting point is how are the Vikings going to deal with Jordan Love? For as good as the Vikings offense has been over the past 6-7 games, I think they're at 29 points a game. Packers have been better, 30 points a game. And so that to me is one of several critical matchups. So maybe the biggest one is, as good of a season as the Vikings defense has had, they're going up against a much better Jordan Love this weekend than they saw in the first matchup, and how will they adjust to that?
Yeah, an hour and a half ago or so when I started the show, that's exactly what I said. The way I phrased it was, can the Flonami take over Love Island, basically? Because that...
Well, you have a way with words that I would not approach, but yes, that's exactly the same.
But it's true, right? And your guy Nate Tice has the numbers of the Packers offense post week 10, which is their bye week, and since then, like you said, they've been running through everybody. And I don't know what all these stats mean. You probably do, but in terms of EPA of play, they're third. Fourth yards per play, they're fourth. Explosive play rate, they're fourth. Success rate, they're fourth. The offense is rolling, so I guess that is the question, right? Is how do the Vikings solve that? And part two of that question would be, we know Harrison Smith being back is important, but how much maybe more important in a weird way is it that it sounds like Ivan Pace is trending the right way?
Yes, and they have been they've been good when they've had Ivan Pace on the field. They've been good when they've had Blake Cashman on the field. They've been really good when both of them are on the field together defensively. Just two guys who can really disrupt the interior part of the opposing offense, and can both get after the quarterback. Cashman very good in coverage, and when he can do that prevents Ivan Pace from having to be in coverage too much, which is probably not his strong suit. And so they need, and you have to hope that after 4 weeks of resting that hamstring, that Ivan Pace is healthy and ready to run, because that's when he's at his best. And that really, will be very important, I think, assuming that he's going to play. He's still on injury reserve. He has been full in both practices, or on both injury reports this week, participation, but they still have to activate him and make a roster spot and all that. I think that they hope that they'll be able to do that, but I'm not sure it's been completely decided yet. We'll know more tomorrow when they have to put out their designation for the game. So we'll see, but I think there's hope that he's going to be able to play, and that will certainly play a big role. Because like I said, when they have, that would basically give them, I'm trying to go through it in my head. I think that would give them everybody that they've used as their regular starter throughout the year, plus all the key backups for the most part for this game, and that's pretty good timing.
Kevin Seifert, ESPN, making his weekly appearance on Bumper to Bumper. It's the Vikings and Packers Sunday right here on the Fan pregame show at 1 o'clock. Have the Packers been vindicated on letting Aaron Jones go? Obviously, he's here, having a great year, but with what they thought they could get out of Josh Jacobs, and how important is he Sunday?
Yeah, I mean, they obviously had to commit a lot more money and salary cap space to do it, but they have, and they also have Jordan Love's big salary cap number and contract as well. But they have a lot of other areas on their team where they're using players they've drafted and aren't on big contracts to sort of balance it out. So there's lots of ways to peel that apple, and they have certainly gotten not only just workhorse type performance from Jacobs that they probably would not have even asked of Aaron Jones, but really explosive too, and good in the passing game, makes a lot of people miss tackles, and just been great. The Vikings have gotten, I think, what they hope to get from Aaron Jones as well at a lot cheaper price, and knowing that they'll have to kind of go back to the drawing board at that position in this offseason as well. Maybe that means Aaron Jones comes back, maybe it doesn't, but he's only on the 1-year deal. But I think both teams got what they wanted. I do not think the Vikings wanted to spend a huge amount of money on a running back this year or maybe ever. And the Packers knew that was something they wanted to upgrade in their offense, and they have done that. And that's a big part of why they've been rolling here the past 6 weeks. It's not just Jordan Love, as I said earlier, getting healthier and moving around. It's really being able to continue to lean into Josh Jacobs on a game-to-game basis in a way that they would not have asked Aaron Jones to do.
We have talked a lot about Darnold's future. We're not going to do that today. We're going to make it a Darnold future-free zone. But you did kind of remind me about the Aaron Jones trick, and that he is on a 1-year contract. And obviously, this is an important game for him, I'm sure, for a number of reasons. I saw T.J. Hawkinson in the locker room today basically saying the same thing. But a lot of people have said, we still can't believe he's here. He's been so important to this locker room. So I guess the question would be, if we're forecasting the future, has Aaron Jones done enough to convince the Vikings that he's worth investing more into, certainly if the numbers are right, or maybe even just more generally that the running back position, you do have to invest a little bit in it? Because I still think the biggest miscalculation they had a year ago was thinking that Alexander Mattison was up for that number one running back type job. Obviously, Akers has been good too. But has Jones, I guess, helped KOC remember that running's important? As much as we want to throw it around, and they should with the guys that they have, you got to have a guy somewhat capable of handling that number one running back role.
And doing that, but also like being good at the pass blocking, because they're still going to be throwing a lot based on the way the roster is structured, and catching, and receiving as well. And so like Aaron Jones has those three attributes that are all pretty high end, and I think that's what's made him such a good fit for this offense. Even Dalvin Cook, I'm not sure, on a play-to-play basis, if you were getting the kind of pass blocking you're getting from Aaron Jones, and he was a good receiver as well. But I think Aaron Jones is has the skills that, if all of your receivers got hurt and you had to put Aaron Jones out there, he would be better than a lot of the running backs, if not all of them in the NFL. He just has that kind of skill set. And so it's hard to say, would they feel rushed to lock him up for next year? He'll be another, 31 going on 31. And there's a certain subset of running backs who are able to push through into their 30s and be really effective. And maybe he's one of them. Maybe they found a way to kind of balance workload and physicality and all that sort of thing. But I would think that would be an open question going into the offseason, and based on what the draft looks like, based on what free agency looks like as well.
How much have you guys talked to Darnold at all about just the change in narrative around him? Has it come up much, or have you noticed a difference in him from when you first talked to him all the way back in Egan, and I'm sure one of the various mini camps or even training camp when it was obvious he was going to be the starter because JJ went down? Have you seen kind of the same Darnold through all of this as his star has risen higher?
He is really not interested in the narrative about resurrecting his career, or even accepting the premise that his career was in the dumps before he got here, or at any point in his career. And so I think that's, like a lot of athletes, I think he's really always been, believed deep in his heart that he could be a really good player, and that there was a lot of reasons why that didn't happen. And so he doesn't really, I remember one of the first press conferences he had, he kind of said something like, I don't really get into narratives. And that kind of just kind of quashed that whole idea that we would get him to cut open a vein and talk about how great it's been this year to remind everyone that he is a great, has a great arm and can make all the throws and can be the quarterback of a very successful team. And he just has not wanted to go there. That said, like if you were to watch a video of his first press conference here and compare it to like today, like it's kind of night and day in terms of just how relaxed he is and cracking jokes occasionally. And some of that just, you see that with a lot of players as they get to know the media group and they get to know the rhythms of things. But in his case, like he knows he's played well, and he knows that everyone knows he's played well. And I think there's him kind of showing more personality in these little 5-minute interview sessions we have with him probably coincides with his confidence on the field growing as well, as he has had this success. And so I don't know that he's going to bring down the house at the local comedy club or anything like that, but it really is a noticeable difference in terms of his just comfort level and just speaking, during those 5-minute things. And I'm sure that, and I know that's kind of coincided with his performance on the field, and I'm pretty sure it's coincided with his growing kind of connections in the locker room as well. It just takes some time. He was coming from a big deficit of a lot of people not believing in him, both inside and outside the league. And I think a lot of those questions have already been answered by what we've seen, even if he's not willing to explicitly go there and acknowledge them.
Well, I see it. I can see it coming now. It's going to be a Players Tribune article, a letter to my former self, like Case Keenum wrote all those years ago.
Yeah.
We're going to be doing a dramatic reading to the Friday Night Lights music.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if he'll ever, I've been curious if even if after the season or whenever he signs a new contract, whether it's with the Vikings or someone else, will there be a moment not to gloat or not to, I told you so, or all you haters, take a look at me now kind of thing. But just is he, he'd only be human to want to acknowledge that yes, this feels like I really did something very important. But I don't know, his personality is such that if he said, you know what, I'm just looking forward to next year, I wouldn't be shocked either. I don't know if he feels compelled to kind of broadcast that satisfaction that I'm sure at that moment he will feel, whether it's with the Vikings or another team, about the way things went in that 12-month period between when he signed here to a 1-year contract and then signed whatever is coming next.
Toledo just dropped a sure-handed touchdown on the first play of overtime. It's 2nd and 10 now against Pittsburgh. It's that game above.
You can't make those kind of mistakes.
Not in the game above Sports Bowl, but it's that kind of pressure. You don't know how people are wondering how's Darnold going to react to. This is big-time playoff pressure right on Sunday. The next 2 weeks, people are waiting to write the Sam Darnold script. The same thing's happening here. Oh yeah, in a Pitt. Is that Pitt or Toledo? Oh, that's Pitt. Pitt dropped the touchdown. Man, that's even worse. And I think that was the kid's dad.
In that big time market, you can't do that
in Pittsburgh. Yeah. So you don't know how people are going to react, right?
You have to only do your best and hope people will be nice to you. Yeah.
Yeah, you can't simulate the game above Sports Bowl pressure in practice. Thank you, Kevin. Enjoy Sunday. These are the fun games, right? When there's a lot of even if you don't have a rooting interest to cover things that matter and to cover big events like this. This is going to be awesome. Tom Brady should be in the house the whole bit. So enjoy yourself Sunday, and we look forward to reading and listening to you next week.
Sounds good. Thanks, Garzi.
That is Kevin Seifert from ESPN and ESPN.com making his weekly appearance on Bumper to Bumper. Anything you want to tease for the top 5?
It'll be a Border Battle list top 5 at 5.
Hello, it is Ryan, and we could all use an extra bright spot in our day, couldn't we? Just to make up for things like sitting in traffic, doing the dishes, counting your steps, all the mundane stuff. That is why I'm such a big fan of Chumba Casino. Chumba Casino has all your favorite social casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere with daily bonuses. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com. That's ChumbaCasino.com.
Sponsored by Chumba Casino. No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
You wake up, put on your Ray-Ban Meta glasses. You're living all in. You realize you need coffee. So you say,
Hey, Meta, how do I make a latte?
Brew 2 shots of espresso.
After Meta AI gets you caffeinated, you're ready for some beats.
Hey, Meta, play hip-hop music.
You head to meet some friends, but can't remember the place.
Hey, Meta, call Eva.
Ray-Ban Meta glasses, the next generation of AI glasses. Just say, hey, Meta, to harness the power of Meta AI. Shop now at meta.com/smartglasses.
Fred runs his own landscaping business.
Yeah, with my two brothers.
They take their business very seriously.
Sure do.
Fred traded up to commercial auto insurance from Geico for serious customized coverage that grows as his business does, all for seriously low rates.
All right, so when's it gonna happen? You know, the big Geico surprise.
I'm sorry?
Some hair metal band. Are they gonna jump out of those bushes?
No, this is a serious Geico ad.
That pyro was pretty cool, though.
Get more with Geico Commercial Insurance. Trade up today at geico.com/commercial.